Okay, hi class. So today we're going to be talking about code switching, which might be a new term for most of you, but I think you'll see that you actually might use code switching in your everyday life. So we're going to go through and we're going to talk about what it is and when it's used and its benefits. So our essential question for today is how do we use code switching to enhance communication with online audiences? So, code switching. I'm going to give you the definition, and then I want you to take a second, pause the video, and write down the definition for yourselves. And then, when you are finished writing, come back, resume the video, and we'll move forward. So, the definition of code switching is changing your language, behavior, or appearance based on who you're with and where you are. Okay, so when you're changing your language or your behavior or your appearance, that can look different based on, like it said, who you're with. So I want you to think about when you're with your family, how do you dress? How do you act? What language do you use? Um, and how does that differ from when you're with your friends? Do you use different language around your friends? Do you dress differently around your friends? What about when you're with a principal or a teacher? Do you talk differently when you are with your principal than when you're with your friends or your family? That's most likely the case, and it should be. It should be a more professional interaction than with a conversation with your friend. And some of you may not have jobs or a boss now, but somewhere down the road, as you graduate college or high school, you will most likely find yourself having a boss at some point and having someone in higher authority than you, and figuring out how you code switch when you're talking to a boss or someone in authority at your job, and how you dress and how you talk. And that should be a more appropriate, professional manner than, again, friends or family. So we've seen there are a lot of different ways and groups, and there are a lot more than this as well, who you can code switch back and forth between. Um, so just a kind of a graphic, what is code switching? Switching from one language to another. So kind of like we talked, if you're having a conversation with your family or your friends, and then you're getting ready to go to an interview, you are internally switching from one language that you use with your family and your friends to a more professional language with a boss or whoever the interviewer is. So now that we've talked about in-person code switching, whether you're actually with the individuals, you can code switch online as well. How you act and talk differently when you're with someone online, and do you change how you talk or act, or what information you give to people when you're online in different formats. So, how do you act or talk differently when you're doing things online, say in an online class? How do you present yourself when you are in an online class with a professor or other students? What information do you give and how do you present yourself? How do you talk? What about when you're online shopping? Does that change from when you're in a online class setting? Do you give out different information? Do you talk differently? Do you present yourself in a different manner, and maybe less professional manner than an online class? And what about when you're gaming? When you're online gaming with other individuals, what way do you present yourself? What language do you use? Um, how do you act? How do you behave? And how does that differ from a more professional setting like an online class or something like that? So you can see there are a lot of different ways to code switch in an online setting as well. And there's a lot more than just these. There's countless more. If you can think of more, then that would be great, and jot it down, and just kind of keep it in mind as you go throughout your day to day. When do you change your behavior and your actions and your language that you're using from one thing to another or one group to another? So, what are the benefits of code switching? Well, there's lots of benefits. One of the benefits is it helps you communicate in a way that your audience will better understand. You are changing the way that you talk so that you can have a more appropriate conversation based on the group or individual that you are with or communicating with. And it helps build community with people with whom you share a background or interest. Because you are talking in the same manner, you're acting in the same manner, you help build community. And it also helps you collaborate more effectively for advocacy or other types of creative projects. So, if you're working with a group project with employees or with other students, you might act differently than you were if you were hanging out with friends, but it might also be more lax than if you were having a project with a supervisor or boss or something like that.